Hi, everybody. This is Venkat from Simply.Coach, and you're listening to the Growth Dialogues podcast, the show that brings together experts in coaching, therapy, and consulting from around the world. Hello, and welcome to this edition of Growth Dialogues. Very pleased to introduce our guest for the day, Kenny Archer. Hi, Kenny.
Hi, good day to you.
Yeah. So, Kenny is a coach for business owners, and as I went through his bio and website and all, one word sort of leapt out at me that he talks a lot about accountability and guidance for what business owners do and their teams as well. Uh, we have had the pleasure of having Kenny using our Simply Coach platform, and we do recognize that there are coaches around the world who use our platform for different reasons. Kenny calls himself an all in one coach. He's a business coach, he's a life coach, he's an executive coach, and he's a leadership coach as well. So, thanks, Kenny, for being on the show. And probably we'd like to start with trying to understand your journey to becoming a coach. How did it start?
So, thanks and thanks again for the invite and thank you for the opportunity. Um, my journey really started as my career started. So, we're going back 30, or I can't even remember. We're going back a long time, and I've always found that I would grow in the corporate world to a certain position. And
Hmm.
I thought, okay, well, that's as far as I'm going to go. So I would start developing the people around me and start developing the team to get them better. And I didn't know it at the time, but I coached them to be as good as me, if not better, which in
Hmm.
turn then helped me go up further. And then I would advance in organizations. And so I would do the same thing again. And I kept doing that. And I did 29 years in the corporate world. And the one day I woke up and I decided I was done. I'd had enough. And we joke about it. We say I retired at the age of 46. And after 3 months, my wife said to me, Kenny, you better go and find something to do. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you. Okay, straightforward and simple. And so I went out and I thought, okay, yeah, what am I going to do? And I looked at different franchises and I looked at different opportunities. And I thought, okay, well, let me just go and contact all the employment agencies that I've used over the years, and because you build relationships and that. And I spoke to the one lady, Gail, and Gail said to me, Kenny, you must understand nobody's going to want to employ you. You're going to come too expensive. You've got way too much experience, or you're too old. You're just fitting into that bracket where you are unemployable. I said, well, thanks, Gail. What am I going to do about that? And she said, well, I want you to go speak to my husband. I said, well, what does your husband do? And she said to me, he's a business coach. And I looked at it and I said, a business coach? What the hell's a business coach? I'd never heard of it. You know, when you're in the corporate world, you kind of you stay within the walls of that organization and you're only exposed to what they allow you to get exposed to. So anyway, I met with her husband, and yeah, he happened to be with one of the bigger brands, Action Coach. Marshall. So him and Brad have done a lot of work together. So I went and I had a look and joined them. Went over to Vegas, did my coaching under Brad, came back, and I battled to get along. I battled to get through it, and after almost 3 years, something just wasn't right. And for me, it turned out to be values, and values are the most important part of any relationship
Yeah.
with anybody, any business you're doing with. And I went on my own. I paid the penalties, got out of the royalties and penalties and all of that, got out of it. And I went on my own. And the moment I had taken a lot of what I'd learned from them and a lot of the experience, and I put it in my way of doing things. I said, one thing I hate about a lot of the coaching companies, there's a set routine. You start here and you process through here, and when you finish, we spit you out, and we call it the cookie cutting process. And for me, it just didn't make sense to work like that because every business owner has their own challenges, whether it's life, business, whatever it is. They've got hurdles and obstacles that they face every day. So I adapted the coaching and the programs to suit the client's needs. I focus more on the smaller businesses. I try and avoid the bigger corporate type of guys because of the flexibility. I like coaching with flexibility because if your client turns up for coaching today and something else has come up on the agenda that wasn't in the plans for the coaching, well, you have to stop and deal with that first. Otherwise, no matter what you do during their coaching session, they're not 100% present. And that's that adaptation. And the reason why I became a coach is to help people and giving back from what I learned. And I was always treated that way, that if something comes along that gets in your way, you have to deal with it. Otherwise, no matter what we say today, is lost. It's gone. It's history. We've wasted our time, a lot of effort lost. So let's rather coach you on what you need today and what's important to you today.
So true, so true. So as you coach some of these business owners, and suppose later as they grow, they have their second in commands as well. What's been the experience? How do these owners sort of instill a culture of coaching in their organization? Could you share some perspectives there?
So a lot of it goes to back down to, well, where do we want to take the organization to? You know, when I'm saying we, I mean the client, because I always see myself as becoming part of their journey. Where do we want to take it to? How are we going to get it there? What are the values that we're going to install? What is the culture that needs to be installed to get you there? And we start then with the owner of the business by getting them in that mindset. Then we introduce that to the rest of the team and get the team's buy-in and contributions towards those values and drive and thing. So it becomes a combined, this is the journey we're going on. So it's not that essence of the boss now said we have to do it this way, now we have to do it that way. Because you'll always then get people that won't buy in. They'll always be resistant to it because the boss said so, I'm not going to do it. So we bring the whole team into that buy-in and where we're going, and we sell a good job to them. And then most of my attention is focused on the owner, but we add in sessions with their second in command, with the sales team, with the operations team. We start adding in to make sure they're on the same page, they get in it. What are their challenges that they don't want to talk to the owner about? And it becomes a safe environment for them. So that's all added into that, and we go on the journey together. And then we get together again, the whole team, and we work through the next goal. We work through the next journey we want to travel so that there's this full-on commitment led by the leader, not by the coach, on where they're going with the business. And as the coach, you're there to support and challenge and make sure they're on the right thing. So you mentioned a little bit earlier on about accountability. Well, if the owner of the business wants to go somewhere, I'm going to hold them accountable to get there.
Yeah.
Because there's no change in the plan halfway through unless the plan's not working. And then you've got to learn from it. But the end result remains the end result. That ultimate goal remains, no matter how many times we have to change the plan all the way through. Because if we're not learning, if we're not failing, we're not learning. So you've got to fail to learn. So you're going to have failures on the way and you're going to change it. And it's that whole, I believe in a simple philosophy. You put a plan together, you learn, you put a plan together, you take action, and you go back and you learn from the action you've taken and the failures you've had from it, alter the plan and take action again. And it's that whole wheel turning around, going through the whole process to get you where you're going. You're not going to travel across the world and give up halfway from your destination. Well, some people do, but that's not what we want to do.
No, so true. I think the fact that you're making it goal directed, and I think you're also teaching your clients that it is okay to change a plan. It's not that Okay,
Yeah,
you have to go due north, but you can go like this, right? So
correct.
it absolutely resonates. And one of the things is this journey takes some time. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it takes months, quarters, years to happen. So, from your experience, what would you say would be the top three things to get right in this journey that a coach and a client takes together?
I think what the number one thing is, and when clients want to sign up with me and they want to know how long it'll take,
Hmm.
I say to them there is no end date. The end date is when we get there, we'll know we're there. Because you can't expect to go from zero to hero overnight. It doesn't work. It's going to be hard work, etc. And understanding right now is you don't know what you need to know, and I don't know what you don't know yet. So part of the beginning of the journey is understanding where we've got to go. So it's about earning the trust with each other,
Yeah.
being open and honest with each other. So that becomes your number one thing. The number two thing is clear picture of where we want to go. Because if that picture is not clear, it's like shooting a shotgun into the air and hoping you'll hit something. We can't operate like that. No business can get to where it needs to be like that. And third, I think, which is probably also really important, is you will make mistakes. And those mistakes are what we learn from and what makes you stronger. So don't don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to get it wrong. And in that, it will never be perfect. No matter what you do, will never be perfect. No matter how much you improve, perfection is something that doesn't exist in business. There's always going to be something that comes along. And so, what are the three things we start off with? It's getting that understanding in place.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I think all absolutely feels right, right? Developing the trust, trying to be goal directed, and accept that we will make mistakes. It's not first time you get it all right. So I also like the fact that you said that it is impossible to time box, because sometimes clients believe that, okay, if I get a coach for 3 months, my quarter will improve, right?
Yeah.
So it's not quite
Oh, doesn't.
as that.
Yeah. My longest client has been with me for 6.5 years.
Wow.
And we're still growing. And we're still growing. You know, we started off, she phoned me and said, Kenny, I've lost my job and I've got an idea. She's now got 9 people working for her. She's moved out of the busy city onto a nice coastal town off the eastern coast of South Africa. Her husband joined her in the business. You know, they're living their life that they wanted to live and are still growing. So, and that's like a success story on its own. And for me, I look back and I go, wow, that's what I want. Other client who started off with 5 people, they're now almost at 40. It's and they've been with me 4 years the other day. It's a long-term journey, because where do you put the end of it? The only day your business stops is the day you sell it. Until then, your business keeps going. So in essence, you should be there. Well, sorry, I'm going to hijack your question and share a little bit. I'll share a little quick little story. Okay. So this one, I love coaching family businesses. And the one day we were sitting with the family, the important people in the family, the directors and that, and the one daughter who looks after the sales team said to me, Kenny, can you come back and do some more sales training for us?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no. So she looked at me. I said, I want you to do the sales training. I will sit in, but I want you to do the sales training. And she was like, but why? You do it so well. I said, because maybe one day I'm not sure. The mother leant across the table and said, why? Where are you going? You know, because they can't see me leaving them. It's as straightforward as that, because I become part, as a coach, you become part of the team. Yes, you're still on the outside and you can see, but they involve you with so much of what goes on that you do feel like part of the team, but you're from the outside. And that's the important part to remember. I've seen coaches get so involved with the clients that they actually become employees of the client. And that is so dangerous.
It's amazing how seamlessly you went from coaching an individual to having a conversation with three, four of them together. And I know coaches put a lot of effort into group coaching, but I like the effortless way you made that transition, Kenny. That came across so well. It's a great story to hear. Right?
Thank you. Yeah, group coaching is probably, I think, they always get sold to coaches as being the quick, make money
Yeah.
quickly, okay,
Mm.
earn more income per hour type of thing. But group coaching, and we're changing the phrase of group coaching, because group coaching is actually not coaching. Group coaching is actually more training. And I know you are on my website, and we're going to be making some changes, so look out for it. We are going to break the coaching. Instead of having the group coaching, we're now going to go training and coaching, because the coaching is still a one-on-one thing. Group coaching is more of a training. Yes, people can recognize it, but the fact is they fear they're going to have to share all their secrets of their business success in a group. So you
Yeah.
change the phrasing to training. People will come to training. The fact that they share with each other in the training is, well, that's their prerogative. But they do start sharing. And one of the big things that made me realize that we spoke earlier on about my podcast. So my podcast is a group of people every Friday morning who get together. I ask a business question and they all share their input on it. Now, if I had to turn around and say, well, that's a coaching session, they would stop coming. But they keep coming because they want to keep learning. So in actual fact, it's actually training. It's not coaching.
Yeah. I think great. I think the terminology is also important so that people are not clamming up, but more open to sharing their
Correct.
ideas. A couple of other areas I wanted to chat about is how do you see the role of technology in coaching, especially some of the AI and other things that coaches talk about? What's your view on that?
It's an interesting question, that, because yes, I use AI to a certain extent. But I think the biggest thing that we must never forget as coaches is the personal aspect. Being able to read your client, being able to be present with your client. It's how you use AI. So how do I use AI? I use AI in recording what our conversations are about, in recording what are the key takeaways from the session, then sharing that with each other. So that's the way I use AI. I use AI in helping get ideas sometimes, in doing research, that type of thing. Yeah, we all use AI now, chat GPTs or whatever, to write articles and write blogs, etc. But what's important is adding that human aspect. I've used technology. I'm using the Simply.Coach platform, which you guys are so kind enough that we can white label everything. So I now call my platform AIA, Archer Inspirations app. It's kind of has a bit of a comical note to it. But it's that technology that has made coaching simpler.
Yeah.
You know, my clients are loving the platform because then they know everything's in one place. If there's something I've sent them, they know where to find it. They don't have to go through emails. They don't have to go through stuff. They can go into the shared resources. It's right there. I call it a GPS, goal performance sheet, which is the pre-coaching sheet. They get it automatically. They complete it. I get notified when it's there. I can go into it whenever I want to and have a look. The whole goal tracking process that you've got built in there has made goals so much easier, because and there's the beauty of technology is when you say to somebody, we've got to set your goals, people kind of like lock up and say, hold on a second. Uh, I'm scared of goals. Goals are impossible. Goals are going to make me do so much work. But when we say, all right, let's just list the simple goals.
Hmm.
Let's not go into doing the whole smart aspect of it. Let's just understand what it is you want to achieve. And then they're going, okay, that's what I want to achieve. And then the way you guys have designed the goals with the action steps, we go and break down that goal into smaller little bites of action steps. And then they go and list, okay, these are the things I want to focus on in the next 3 months, or these are the things I want to focus on in the next year. Then we can go back and say, all right, let's complete the smart analysis of that. And so we complete it, and suddenly those goals just become these little action steps that they've got to take between sessions and that. And it is so powerful, and they achieve it. And when you can go back now and you can look at it and say, look where you were, look where you are now. And you told me goals don't work. It's all about the mindset again. And if you believe goals can't work, well, guess what? They'll never work. If you believe they're going to work and you're going to put the work into it, then they work. So technology is there to help us. I mean, technology has made the world so small. We are talking to each other now from opposite ends of the world in 2 different time zones. Yet we'd be able to share today thousands of people who want to listen to it, or hundreds of people, even if it's
Yeah,
only one person. It doesn't make a difference. The difference is what we're talking about today is going to make an impact at least one person's life and the way they see
I
it.
really love the way that you made technology so integral into your coaching one. Really great there, Kenny. Just one last thing before we wrap up here. I'm sure you've read a lot of books, you've attended several sessions. Any favorite coaching quote that you can recall that you can share with some of our listeners here?
It doesn't matter what you do today, but it's what matters is that you did it. And I think I can't remember who the hell said it. Okay, excuse me, but it's what it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're getting something done and that you are doing something. Because if you sit around and don't do anything, it is the same as doing nothing except you're going backwards. So I
I
can't.
love that approach of you, Kenny. Through conversation, you talk about goals, you talk about actions, and always action oriented rather than being very passive. So does resonate a lot. Yeah. So thank you, Kenny. Thank you for your time,
No,
and
thank you for
thank
the
you for being
opportunity.
so generous to share your ideas with all of us and our listeners. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity and honor to be chatting to you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Growth Dialogues. Don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you enjoy your podcast.